From this scenic viewpoint in Spain, the African continent looks close enough to touch. That mountain in the distance is Morocco, separated from Europe by a stretch of water just 14 kilometers wide. In clear weather, you can look across the strait and see another continent as if it were a neighboring suburb, a distance you could drive in less than 30 minutes. Despite its narrowness, this is one of the most significant maritime choke points on Earth. Every year, 100,000 ships pass through this gap, carrying 80% of the EU's merchandise trade and a third of the world's entire supply of oil and gas. Engineering this distance shouldn't be the problem. In China, the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge spans 55 kilometers, nearly 4 times the distance of the strait, and it was completed in just 9 years. We have even conquered the depths. The 50-kilometer Channel Tunnel has successfully linked the UK and France beneath the seafloor since the 1990s, proving that underwater transit between sovereign nations is a mature technology. This leaves us with a paradox. If the technology exists and the economic incentive involves trillions of dollars in trade, why has every attempt to bridge these 14 kilometers failed? To find the answer, we have to look at the unique geological defenses of the strait itself. The drive to connect these continents is so strong that for over a century, architects have proposed plans that range from the ambitious to the truly radical. In the 1920s, German architect Hermann Sorgal proposed Project Atlantropa. He wanted to dam the Strait of Gibraltar and lower the Mediterranean Sea by 660 feet, physically merging Europe and Africa into a single landmass. The plan was ultimately discarded. Beyond the extreme costs, draining the Mediterranean would have caused an ecological collapse and permanently altered the climate of the entire region. More recently, architect Eugene Sui proposed a floating bridge. It wouldn't touch the seafloor at all. Instead, it would be a 3-mile-wide floating city on the surface, designed to move with the water. These unconventional designs weren't just flights of fancy. They were attempts to solve a very specific problem. The seafloor between Spain and Morocco is a graveyard for traditional engineering. The most direct path is the canyon route. It's the shortest 14-kilometer gap, but it's where the warm Mediterranean meets the cold Atlantic. This difference in temperature and density creates violent vertical currents called upwelling. These currents move at 11 kilometers per hour, pushing survey ships off course and making mapping impossible. When they finally mapped the depth, they found a 900-meter chasm. To build a bridge here, you would need support pillars the height of 3 Eiffel Towers stacked on top of each other. Even if you built pillars that tall, the soil is a mixture of clay and a porous rock called breccia. It's too weak to support the massive weight, causing any structure to collapse into the sediment. Most importantly, the shortest route sits directly over the friction point between the African and Eurasian tectonic plates. It is a highly active seismic zone, meaning any bridge or tunnel would have to survive constant geological shifts and earthquakes. In 2005, researchers pivoted to a longer but safer path called the threshold route. It's 28 kilometers long, but the water is only 300 meters deep and the seafloor is much more stable. By 2006, this became the official plan. A Swiss firm was contracted to design a triple tunnel system for trains, which would finally provide a reliable physical link between the two continents. The engineering was solved, and the contracts were signed for a 2008 start. But as the physical challenges faded, a political barrier took their place. The tension centers on Ceuta and Melilla. These cities are located on the African coast, but they are governed by Spain, a situation Morocco has disputed for decades. In 2008, a visit to these territories by the Spanish king, Juan Carlos I, led Morocco to withdraw its ambassador. The diplomatic fallout brought the tunnel project to a standstill. Relations froze again in 2020 after Spain provided medical care to a Western Saharan rebel leader. This move led Morocco to halt cooperation on the tunnel link once more, leaving the timeline in limbo. Because this route is so vital to global trade, world powers like the US and the EU are applying pressure on both nations to settle their differences. They need a reliable alternative to the narrow shipping lanes of the strait. We have the blueprints to overcome the currents, the depth, and the tectonic plates. But while science has built a way to cross the water, the project cannot move forward until Spain and Morocco reconcile their political borders.